Good evening, everyone. I'm Chrissy B and welcome to my show. Now, tonight we'll be looking at second chances and speaking to a woman who was unable to read or write to becoming an author of 9 novels. Now, how on earth did she do that? We'll be speaking to Karen Woods and she's going to be telling us her story and how she managed to achieve so much. And we'll also be looking at an interview with X Factor's Rough Copy and how they also got a second chance to follow their dreams on this year's X Factor. Now, unfortunately, Chris couldn't come today, so we won't be having the self-development clinic, but we do have our lovely Bianca with us, who's going to be sharing some news, aren't you, B?
Yes, Chris.
So lovely to see you.
And you, of course. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
You've got some exciting stuff to share with us,
I have,
haven't you?
yeah. The first one.
You're trying to hide some stuff from me because you didn't want me to see before the show.
I was trying to hide it, Chris. This one is going to shock you all, honestly.
Oh, no.
It's going to be hard to read. Well, a family this week.
It's supposed to be a happy show.
No, it's not sad.
Okay,
it's just shocking.
Okay.
It's my worst nightmare. A family this week living in southwest London had to leave their home after deadly South American spiders began hatching out of a bunch of bananas.
Oh my!
It's the most disgusting thing ever. It makes me feel sick.
Where did they get the bananas from?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Can you whisper it to me?
It begins with an S.
No! Oh no!
Yeah, so they bought these back. They bought this bunch of bananas.
Was this on the news? Because I don't.
Yeah, it's been all over the news. It's absolutely it really scares me because I really hate. And I love bananas. I'm always eating them.
Yeah, I had 2 today. I've eaten 2 bananas today. Yeah.
So this lady, she saw something what looked like. She thought it was mold at first. She put it on her kitchen table. Thought it was mold, and she was actually eating the banana as well at the time. She had a closer look at it. She said, and was horrified to see that they were spiders and they were hatching out on her table in her kitchen. And they started scurrying around the carpet. They started coming out of the bananas. It's disgusting. It's awful.
And they're poisonous.
And they're deadly, yeah. They're toxic.
God, what did she do? Who did she call?
Well, she reported it straight to the supermarket at first, and they offered her a £10 voucher for this. For all her troubles, and then it wasn't until
to buy more South American bananas.
Yeah, and it wasn't until she went to an actual pest control firm and sent off some photos of what had happened, and they said that she was lucky to send these pictures in because they were venomous spiders, and they said they told her to leave her house straight away.
Really?
Yeah, because they said that they could be in the house somewhere and they're not safe. So the family had to dry clean all their clothes, and they racked up a total bill of £1,000, which covered hotel costs and pest control measures, which the supermarket have paid for.
Oh, good.
And apparently they're just extremely deadly, toxic spiders. So scary, isn't it? It scares me talking about it. I can't breathe. It's horrible.
So everybody at home, check your bananas.
Chris, you should have seen them. The pictures will be up on the screen, but they were like, it was like this big, I think it was a big spider, and then there was like all these tiny, tiny little ones like around it, just underneath the banana skin, and you can see them. Oh. It's the most disgusting thing ever.
Oh God, that's really dangerous if you've got pets as well.
Yeah.
Because my cat, she will just eat anything that crawls. She even eats plastic and things. She's like a child. I have to take everything away from her because she'll just try and eat it.
Yeah.
But that's dangerous for animals.
Yeah. And they've got they've got 2 young children. I think one's like 6 months old. So like even with children, imagine if the child had the banana or something, or it was crawling around the floor.
Oh, please, everybody check.
Yeah.
I hope they've taken, obviously they must have taken the bananas off the shelves.
Yeah, I'm going to question whether I buy bananas for a little while. I love bananas as well, they're my favourite fruit.
Yeah.
But the image, Chris, is going to really put you off for a long time. Awful. And they're deadly. Yeah. Anyway, and also...
Traumatised.
Yeah, I'm traumatised by that story. I had to warn everybody though, I really had to talk about it because I wanted to warn everyone. So Lay's, which is also known as Walker's in the UK, has announced plans to sell chocolate-covered crisps in the US next week. The new range will be trialled as a test at first to see if there's really a demand for it, and if it's successful, it will be coming to the UK, they say as well.
I think it could work because they have those pretzels and they're quite salty and they've got chocolate and they're quite yummy actually. They're really Moorish as well. So I think chocolate covered crisps would work.
Would you
like?
Like?
I would try it. Although I have to say I don't eat crisps anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be really bad for you now that it's covered in chocolate. Crisps are bad for you anyway, aren't they?
Not if it's plain chocolate, because plain chocolate apparently is quite good for you.
I think
but I want it, Chris, anyway. But just maybe just to try it, just to see what it's like.
I'll probably try it just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
It's a new invention. And so the vice president of Lay's says, when you try something drastically different, you have to walk before you can run. And he also says that snack foods are a multi-billion-dollar industry, and competition has driven producers to make new, weird, and wonderful flavors because there's so much out there, so much competition. So they have to do these sort of extreme things to get recognized and trying something new. And also that sweet and salt is really popular at the moment as well, and I love sweet and salt stuff. Like, have you tried the sweet and salt popcorn?
No.
It's really nice.
Is it?
Yeah, Chris, I've got to introduce you to that. You won't stop. It's my favourite.
Don't introduce them to it then.
You won't stop.
I'm still on my fitness thing, you know.
They do like the low calorie versions as well, and they're just as nice. Just as nice. I saw this young girl on the tube, and she was like chucking this popcorn in her face, and it was the sweet and salt one. So that's how nice it is. People just don't want to like wait any second. They're just like
all of it. No, I don't want to even try it, to be honest. Too dangerous.
You don't want to start doing that on the tube.
No.
And also another story this week, which you know about, Chris. This man was a bit unlucky in love. He chopped off his penis because he was fed up with not having a girlfriend. So the depressed 26-year-old believed there was no chance of ever finding a partner due to his long hours of work. So he cut off his private parts in a bid to stop himself thinking about finding love. Quite quickly afterwards, he realised his mistake, so Yang cycled to the hospital to get treatment, only to be sent home by shocked doctors who said for him to go and retrieve it, bring it back so they can try and reattach it.
He left it at home?
He left it at home. Why would you do that? He must have been in like a right panic, but why would you do that?
Sorry, you know what? On the surface, when you read the story, it seems ridiculous, and it seems quite funny because how could someone do that?
It is funny,
but
it's
when
horrible.
you look, when you look into it, imagine what this guy was going through to even think. Because first of all, he's stressed because he's working so many hours, and I know people in China, they do work really long hours, and it's hard as well there. It's a hard life at times. But he must be stressed because of work, lonely. He's not got a girlfriend. He can't imagine ever getting a girlfriend because imagine you're working so hard and everything. What time? It's true. In his head, he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never going to have a girlfriend, but I want to stop this pain," because he must have been really lonely as well. I want to stop this pain inside, and then he just did something ridiculous, like without even thinking about the consequences.
Oh my gosh!
Because that means you don't have any sort of the way he was thinking. He obviously couldn't see ahead. He couldn't even plan a life. You know, later on, could he? It's like he's thinking, this is my life, this is it, this is how I'm going to be for the rest of my life, so I might as well just cut it off. But the thing is, I mean, that is even what we're talking about today, really. People actually, you know, even though you're in like maybe a rut at the moment and you don't see a way forward, but you still have a dream one day that you'll make it, that you'll do something different with your life. And he obviously didn't. I think it's really, really sad.
It is sad.
Because what is he, you know, he was quite young, wasn't he? He wasn't even...
Yeah, he was 26.
26
Very
year old.
young.
That should have dreams, that should have ambitions, and he's thinking that he's never going to get a girlfriend, so let me just cut my penis off.
It's awful.
It's horrible.
And so after he'd left it, and then he went to the hospital, said, "You're going to have to go back and get it so you can try and retrieve it."
I can't believe they didn't go and get it for him. Honestly, he did.
Yeah.
Honestly, didn't know what he did
and
with
that's
it.
a bit shocking, isn't it? Think about that, because he only had a bite.
He's bleeding. He's obviously bleeding. They send him back home to get it anyway. But it just gets more ridiculous when we talk about it.
The story just gets more ridiculous as you read it. And then so he returned, and they said that he'd lost too much blood, so surgeons were unable to save it. But like you say, they should have helped him in the first place. I don't understand.
I'm not saying that he's never going to have a girlfriend, but I mean,
so strange.
What kind of relationship are they going to have now?
All I can think of is that the doctors were so shocked, and maybe I don't know whether he'd ran away too quickly for them to arrange something, I don't know. But that's what it seems like, a big thing, like it was all very sort of dramatic at the time. And Yang's friends said that he had been increasingly depressed about the fact that since moving to the city, he'd not found a girlfriend. And he just doubted that he would never get a chance to meet a woman. It's horrible, isn't it? And he works in a clothing factory and was working really long hours. It is really sad.
That's the thing. Matters of the heart are really serious because people do all sorts of crazy things.
I'm
when
sure
they're
his
lonely,
friends,
when they're depressed, they do things without thinking,
or
thinking it's a good idea at the time, and then it's horrible.
Yeah, and I'm sure like his friends knew that there was something, he was going through difficult times.
No one could have imagined anyone to do that. You don't
happen.
imagine anyone doing that to themselves, do you?
Poor thing.
Oh. Well, I wish him all the best, and maybe, you know, all the media attention, maybe even I know, maybe someone will see him and like take a fancy to him. You never know.
Yeah.
And with the right treatment, things could be in working
That's
order
it.
again.
That's what I think. Yeah, because with all the technology we've got these days, I'm sure we can sort it out. Yeah. And some good news, Chris. This week, a busker was performing a 1980 classic when he got the surprise of his life, when this lead singer from the band walked up and sang along with him. That's lovely, isn't it? So someone filmed it and put it on YouTube. It was a 1-minute clip and it's now gone viral as well. And it showed the busker performing Small Town Boy, the song was called, before being approached by a man who turned out to be the main guy, Jimmy Somerville. And the guy who filmed it said, "What a huge surprise for this street musician and us." And he said it was fantastic to see that these sort of things happen.
Yeah,
it's amazing,
that's nice.
isn't it?
Can you imagine?
Lovely. I know. Imagine his face when he was singing along to his song. And
that's like me singing the other day and then having Justin Bieber come
Chris,
singing with me.
Justin Bieber and Jaden Smith.
Yeah. I think we've got about a minute left. Have we got a quick story, or should we just go to the break?
We can go to break and come back.
All right.
I've got long stories to see.
All right. So if you guys want to get in touch, obviously you can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. And if you want more information about the show, and even if you want to suggest a topic, maybe there's something that you'd really like to see us discussing here, you can also email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. And stay tuned, because after the break, I'll be joined by Karen Woods, who says she couldn't read or write, but who now has 9 novels to her name. So what did she do? How did she change her life? And what are her plans for the future? So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to our Second Chances show, and I'm joined now by author Karen Woods. Hello, Karen.
Hi, Chrissy.
It's so great to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Now, you've travelled quite a long distance to come, haven't you, tonight?
We have today, yeah.
Oh, bless.
It's worth it to get here.
Oh, so I'm really interested in your story, because you did email me to tell me about sort of some things that you've been through, and you've also achieved something quite remarkable. But tell us about your background first of all. How was life for you growing up?
Growing up, I grew up on a council estate. Lived like most kids did, like from hand to mouth. Kind of a diamond in the rough, I'd like to describe myself as. I had 2 brothers. Family broke up when I was 13. So 13, yeah. But my dad always brought me up to be a fighter, and even with the lads, he treated me as a lad. And I've asked him like years later, why did you bring me up like that? And it was because he said, life's hard enough for a woman, and I wanted you to be strong. So it's a nice thing, really.
Yeah.
So I don't regret my childhood. I was the same as everybody else, and we all got by how we could, really.
What were your kind of dreams and aspirations for the future as a child, do you remember?
As a child, there was a dream. I used to remember going on the local market, and it used to be 5p for a bundle of paper. And I used to buy the paper, fold it over, and always start it once upon a time and write little bits. So I think as a child, even then, I had the ambition, the dream to write books. But as life goes on, you lose your dream, don't you? And I think that's what happened to me. It was sort of like the dream was there 1 minute, and then a big cloud appeared in front of it, and it was sort of like gone.
When did things actually start to go a bit pear-shaped for you?
Well, when I was 15, I got pregnant. Had a stillborn baby at 7 months, so as a young girl, it was quite a lot to cope with even then.
Were you in a stable relationship?
Yeah, I was in a relationship, and then I got pregnant again after that, had another 2 children. So I was in a bad relationship, and when I look back now, I could kick myself because I've just said to you, my dad always brought me up as a fighter and never to stand for things, but somehow, some way, I sort of lost myself during that time.
It's like what we were talking about before the break. When it's to do with love life, when it's to do with relationships, it's like sometimes we kind of lose all sense of reason, and we can see something is wrong or heading in the wrong direction, and it's really hard to break away from certain things, and you sort of get caught up in the moment and the emotions of it all.
That's what it is. It's hard to look at your life and think, is there something better for me? Because at that time, it wasn't about what I wanted. I had children. It was about feeding them, supporting them. So it was about their life then. Anything that I ever wanted in life was sort of put on the back burner, because the easiest thing to do is to stay in a violent relationship. The hardest thing is to stand up and leave.
How bad did it get with this person?
It was bad. It was bad. It was horrific. And I'm not going to say I was a victim, because I give as good as I got. And I did fight back. But it's like your confidence is chipped away slowly every day. Something's missing from the person that you used to be, and you sort of like see a person that you don't recognise anymore. And it got to the stage when I just looked at my life and I thought, you know what, there is better things out there for me. It's hard to see it at the moment, and all I can describe it as is a big mist in front of you. And one day from nowhere you'll wake up and sort of that cloud moves from in front of your eyes and you can see something. And I think that's what happened to me, because I just got up one day and I thought, that's me, I'm going. Packed up everything that I owned, because my partner was in prison at the time, which gave me a good chance to escape.
And some thinking space as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So packed up what I had, spoke with the local housing, they got me a new property, and I moved. In my old car, what I had, anything that I could get into the car I took, and I started a new life for me, my children in a new area, which was hard because you don't have no friends there.
So how many children do you have?
I have 4 now, but I had 3 at the time.
You have 3, okay, wow, that's tough.
You move your kids to a new school and you have the mothers who are already formed as friendship, and you're like a new person going in. So it was like a new start for me.
Yeah. Now tell us about not being able to read and write as well.
I could read and could write, but I struggled with it. I was basic.
Okay.
And up to the age of probably 39, I started working as a cleaner when I left my partner, and then gradually over the months I got promoted to a senior supervisor, which meant that I'd be working in an office, I'd be writing emails, doing spreadsheets, and my manager asked me if I wanted to go an adult literacy course. And to tell you the truth, the first time they mentioned it, and I thought, it's a skive out of work. I'm one of those girls. If there's a skive to be had, I'd have gone out and done it. So I signed up for it. And I went through the classroom door, and I half expected my old teachers to be there saying, oh, I knew you'd be back. But there was a friendly face waiting for me at the other side of the door. And once I started learning, I actually remembered some of the things I'd been taught in school, and it just sort of all started coming back to me.
Was it strange for you though, first sort of going into that class? And
yeah, because last time, it was years since I'd been inside a classroom, and I didn't want the set again to be the teacher saying, do you not know this work? You know, have you not learnt this work? It was a friendly face saying, right, Karen, you don't understand that. I'll sit down with you and we'll talk through it. So it was a completely different learning environment for me.
Just because I don't really know much about sort of adult learning classes and stuff, but how many people are in the class? Is it like a sort of...
About 3 or 4.
Oh, really?
3 or 4,
oh,
yeah.
So it's quite intensive.
Yeah. And we're all on the same wavelength. We're all there for the same reason. And people don't judge people when you're in that kind of environment, because we're all there to learn.
Okay. And maybe so adults that are watching at the moment that say, look, I really need this, you know, my reading and my writing isn't to scratch. And maybe they're finding it even difficult to build up the confidence to even look for jobs.
Yeah.
What would you say to encourage them maybe to try this out as well?
It's nothing like you think it is. You think you're going to walk in and it's going to be all this pressure for you. You learn at your own pace. When I was in school, it wasn't the right time for me to start learning then. And people want to learn at different times of their life. And later in life, people do need to learn things. If I wouldn't have gone back into education, I'd have never had the tool to start my dream, because everything sort of fits into place. And I feel that fate has led me on a journey into, okay, we got you the qualification for the adult literacy, and let's take you on to something else then. That's where my next part of my life began.
Which was what?
Well, I went on a wellbeing course through work again, and they asked me, they said, what's your dream? What do you want to do? And as they was going around the class, a few of them said, I want to go to the gym, I want to spend more time with the children. And I thought, I don't want to go to the gym. I see my kids all the time. I've got a big dream. And it was on the tip of my tongue. I thought, do I actually tell them what I want to do? And I thought, yeah. So I stood up and I said, I want to write a book. And there was an actual silence in the classroom. And I could feel my face burning. And the tutor said to me, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go home. I'm going to buy myself a notepad and a pen and I'm going to write. So I come out of the classroom and it was like I needed to prove to everybody in that classroom now that, okay, I've said I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So I went home, I'd done exactly that and I started writing. 3 months solid, I was writing by hand and I was using stories from my own background to tell this story of my first novel, Broken Youth. So I was writing, and after 3 months, it was all there, ready. And I thought, right, what do I do with it now? So my English tutor, I asked her, would she have a read of it? Brought it into her. And then I think it was about 2-3 weeks was the worst waiting time ever in my life, because I was waiting for her to come back and say, you know, like, did she like it? What was wrong with it? And she actually sat down with me and she broke down crying. And she said, I cannot believe that you've actually wrote it and the way that you've wrote it. I want you to try and get it published. So
just going back to something that you said that I thought was very important. I think the fact that you actually verbalized your dream in front of other people was quite a powerful thing to do, because it's like when you do that, it's like you kind of put you put yourself on the line basically. You set it out in the open, and sometimes people are afraid to actually say certain things or plans that they have. And I always say on this show that you need to be careful about who you talk to about your dreams and your aspirations for them not to put you off. But at the same time, I also think it's good to actually say it out loud, even if it's not in front of them, but say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get it done by this time. Because it's like you're making that commitment with yourself as well.
Yeah, you'll always have negative people who'll always try and put you off, but that's their negativity. At the end of the day, if you see your goal where you want to be, and I know mine is quite big compared to what some people have, you need to look at it and see. I believe that if you visualise it and you see the things that you want, it starts happening. And sometimes I've had to give myself a shake and thought, wow, I've actually seen this because I've wanted it that much. And it's self-belief. Don't let people ever tell you you're not good enough, that any dream's too big, because it's not. People come to me now and they tell me their own dreams, and I say, go for it. Think of the things that you need to actually get yourself started with your dream, and go for it. Nothing is to stop you.
You've actually done a lot more since then, but we're going to go to a quick break and you're going to be telling us afterwards. And also we're going to be showing you an interview that we did with Rough Copy, who are, of course, stars of this year's X Factor as well, and how they also received a second chance to be in this year's X Factor. So let's take a look at that after this break.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Now, before we continue speaking with Karen Woods, let's take a look at this interview that we did with X Factor's Rough Copy.
Okay, so you guys were in the X Factor this year. What part did you enter the competition and what part did you come out?
Well, we started from the beginning and we ended up we got through to judges' houses, but unfortunately we could not go to Las Vegas, so we had to leave the competition.
Okay, how do you think that music or other art forms like dance, drama can help young people to have like a positive future?
It's all about expressing yourselves, and I think that's what young people need nowadays, is somewhere to express.
I'll say definitely have something to focus on, because when you have a love and a passion for something and you focus on it, there ain't nothing stopping you.
So have your aim, your objective and your goal. with that in your mind, obviously, you can't be derailed, so you're always going to focus on your goal.
The comedy is amazing for me. I love comedy, but it's starting to open up so many different doors. Even if I wasn't a comedian or a presenter or someone who was known in the community, I would still like to do my bit. And I just use the opportunity of where I am to just have extra impact. So that's something that will always be there regardless, because I've got parents who constantly remind me of, you know, the importance of giving and empathy and understanding from people's point of view.
Dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again.
We actually recorded this last year, and they had no idea that they would be getting this far in the X Factor this year. So it just goes to show, even though like it seemed like their dreams were dashed last year, and that, you know, they had to give up and, you know, stop in the competition, but they still tried again this year, and they got so far, and it was fantastic. So it just goes to show, it's just an example to everyone that you shouldn't give up. If you have a dream and you want to keep going for it, keep going for it. You can do it. If you've got that determination and that drive and that confidence in yourself, just keep going. You'll get there, as you did, Karen, didn't you?
Yeah.
So tell us. So your teacher, was it that she said she read your book and she thought it was fantastic?
Yeah.
And then what happened after that?
I went to the local paper and I told them about my story, and I thought, right, I'll try and find a publisher. Almost immediately, a publisher's got in touch with me and asked me could they read the book. So obviously I sent it to them, and within a week they got back to me and said that they'd published the book, which was like, wow, I've actually, you know, done something. But while I was waiting for it, I sort of got this urge and fire in my belly to write more. So I thought, right, I'll write the sequel to this book.
So you didn't even know how it would go, and you're already planning to write the next one?
Because, like I said, I sort of visualised that it was just going. It was going there, and it was just like a thing for me to start writing another book for it. So I started to write the sequel, and before I knew it, I was just writing all the time. But I think...
And this was from someone that struggled to write before?
Yeah. But I was writing about things that was close to me and about issues that affect a lot of women like me. And I think
like
that's
what?
why...
What were some of the things?
Well, domestic violence, visiting prisons, lots of things like women struggle with bringing up children alone. And I think I was actually voted #1 in Waterstones as Readers' Reviews, which for me as a first-time author that no one had heard of was like, go on, Kaz, you can actually do that. And I write from the heart and I write raw, gritty stories. I don't always give a happy ending because life's not like that. And I think people who read my books, they identify with the storyline and think, well, okay, this woman's been through this story. That's how she come out the other side. And that's what it's a learning book as well. Even though it's raw fiction, there's always a message in there for my readers.
And what about, so you've written 9 novels now?
I've written
published.
9 novels. I've been signed up by a leading literacy agent, and now I'm waiting for that big moment now where I get signed up and become an international selling author.
Okay.
And that's my dream. I do see it. I think it's just a matter of time, me believing in it and doing something every day to add to my goal, what I want at the end of it, because I see myself now as the voice of probably the learner and the real people, because people like me, they have dreams, but they never do anything with them because they think that, oh, who's going to listen to me and things like that. I want to say, listen, take a look. There was no one worse off than me, and look how far I've come with a bit of self-belief.
Your kids must be really proud of you as well.
Yeah, they do, and they think, don't get me wrong, because you have to sacrifice things to achieve your dreams. And my kids are older now, and they say to me, you're always writing. I said, yeah, because if you want something enough, you've got to put your time and effort into it to get where you're going. So sometimes you've got to be a bit selfish in the respect that this is my time, mum's time, and this is what she does with her time. Of course.
Because you sacrificed a lot to bring them up as well, didn't you?
Yeah, of course,
now it's your turn. Karen, what would you say was the worst moment for you in all of this? Moment maybe that you really struggled, and how did you come out of that?
It was learning to type.
Really?
Because, I was 2 fingers, I've never used a computer before, and I started to learn to type. And it was just...
How did you learn? Was it self-taught or did
self-taught.
you... Really?
Self-taught. It was like that all the way through it.
Oh, that must have taken ages.
Yeah, and I lost 25,000 words because no one told me that you had to back it up onto a memory stick.
Oh, you poor love. Oh, no.
And that was one of those moments when I was thinking, why?
Oh,
why?
No.
But I carried on and started it again. So it's all worthwhile. And now, through my writing books, I've also started writing scripts. And my first book I turned into a script, and it was performed at the Lowry Theatre in Manchester this year for a sellout audience. And I used a lot of local actors, a lot of the youth off the streets, because when I brought them in for their auditions, I said, don't tell me about no show reels. I don't want to know how many Oscars you could have been in for. It's all about today. And a lot of the actors and the kids we used were people who'd come from the estate and was going through things in their own life. And they transferred that into the characters, what they was playing. And we got a standing ovation at the end of the show. Absolutely marvellous. One of the best things I've ever done in my life.
Okay. So apart from international author, what other dreams and aspirations do you have? Let's verbalise it now.
Yeah,
on
I
TV.
Well. I want to become a scriptwriter for TV. And I want to be known as the people's voice in the things that I do, be it in TV, be it in writing books. I want to represent a nation of women who are actually standing tall now and thinking, you know what, I can have a go at that and I'm not going to give up. That's the thing, you have so many things that can stop you from doing things, and some people think, well, that's in the way, I'm going to stop. You've got to learn that you've got to fight for things in life. Nothing ever comes knocking onto your door and says, there you go. You've got to fight
Which is
for
what
it.
some people are waiting for. They
Never
say,
happens.
I'm unlucky, I don't ever get opportunities. But the thing is, opportunities are all around us, everywhere. And if the person doesn't look out for them and doesn't grab them when they're there, and when they see them, they won't get anywhere.
Life deals you a hand of cards, and it's up to you how you play them. I've had bum deals, I've had jokers, but I play a mean game of poker now because I've learned that you get your tools, everything contributes to where you're going in life, and you've got to grab it with both hands and make the most of it. Yeah, don't ever say never.
Yes. So I'm laughing because that was a song we recorded last week for a challenge, Never Say Never.
Yeah.
So it's like it's weird that you said it at the same time. Karen, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Chrissy.
And, you know, all the best with everything that you're going to do. I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more from you. And I'm sure that's inspired our viewers as well, those that were thinking that, you know, I'm not very good at reading, I'm not very good at writing, I can't see myself ever achieving anything because I'm not as clever or I'm not as good as the others. That's a load of rubbish. You are good and you can do it. If Karen did it, so can you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chrissy.
And after the break, unfortunately, we don't have Chris Brown with us here today, but Bianca will be back here with us to share some more exciting news. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and now we have our self-development clinic with Bianca Clayton.
Oh, hello, Chris. I've got so much personal development to tell you.
Okay, so as you know, Chris isn't here today, so we have the lovely Bianca to share some more news with us. She won't be doing the self-development clinic.
No, I'm going to stick to what
pretty good
I'm going to stick with the news.
All right, go on then. So that's the news then.
Well, you might not think much of your loose change, but it does add up. But I would advise that you'd use your own money, not anyone else's. A man in New York has been imprisoned for stealing loose change from parking meters.
Oh.
The loose change he stole, you're never going to believe how much, totaled up to $135,000. Can you believe it?
But how does he?
Because he works there. He used to collect the money as part of his job.
Oh, okay.
And he was just bagging quite a lot of it, and just over time he was saving more and more and more. But he did it in a way, I think, where people didn't really notice there was much missing, because you take a few bits here and there, but over time it added up to a huge amount of money. So he was a parking repairman working in Buffalo for more than 30 years and serviced 1,200 meters. Shocking, isn't it? So that's a 30-year sort of like con. but yeah, gone.
But you know what? People get found out in the end, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the underlying thing, isn't it, about it? He's 58 years old, and he would rig the machines and took quarters and never dropped it into the... What he'd do is he never dropped it into the coin canister, allowing him to steal the money for himself. FBI investigators found around £30,000 in cash in his home, hidden in his bedroom ceiling. He then rolled the change in coin wrappers and exchanged them for banknotes. The FBI said the bank never questioned him because he said he had a friend in the vending machine business.
Oh, okay.
Shocking, isn't it?
Well, he covered all his...
Yeah, and he said he also developed such a good relationship with the bank tellers that they would eventually give him boxes to use to that exactly
They were
worked
helping
out.
him.
They were helping him, and it worked out $500 worth of quarters and got cash in return. So they knew how much. He must have been a huge regular coming in with that specific amount of money, and they were actually providing him with these boxes all the time. Shocking, isn't it?
Well.
Huge con.
So now
but
he's in jail.
And he's in jail now, and he's got 2.5 years for it.
Is that all?
Yeah, so it's not very long, is it?
No.
After all that, after a 30-year scam,
Yeah,
it's only got
2 years, okay.
2.5 years. It's shocking, isn't it? And also this week, 2 planes collide mid-air, 9 skydivers jump to safety, 1 pilot ejects, 1 lands its plane, and everybody survives. Can you imagine
Hang on,
that?
say that
Chris?
again?
So 2 planes collide mid-air.
Really?
9 skydivers jump to safety.
So they were out skydiving.
Yeah, they were out skydiving. Gosh, Chris. And you were going to do that, and you probably still will be doing that, won't you?
Yeah, supposedly booked for next spring.
Forget about this in the spring.
Then I don't understand why you brought this story to me today. Are you trying to scare me?
No, Chris. I'm just showing you a new story. It won't happen to you, Chris. Don't worry. And then, so the 9 skydivers and 2 pilots survived mid-air collision. And the skydiving instructor, Mike Robinson, said that the divers and crew had gone up for their last jump of the day as well.
Gosh.
And we were just a few seconds away from having a normal skydive when the trail plane came on top of the aircraft and came down on top of it. And it turned into a big flash fireball and the wing separated. All we knew was that we had a crash.
And they all survived.
And they all survived it.
Unbelievable.
So the skydivers jumped out with their parachutes and they survived. And their plane that they jumped out of spiraled out of control and smashed into pieces as it fell on the floor. And the skydivers in the second plane were all able to escape and also jump with parachutes, while that pilot stayed with the aircraft and managed to land it safely.
Gosh.
Shocking, isn't it? It's unbelievable. And the instructor said it might have been been a lot worse. Everybody to a person responded just as they should, including the pilots. You'd have to respond really quickly. It's unbelievable, but they all managed to. They had a few grazes and bruises, but they were all alive. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also, Chris, 1 in 4 men claim that planning a wedding is more stressful for them than their brides.
Men don't plan weddings, women do. The brides do.
Yeah. But apparently,
don't they? I mean, what are they stressed about, for goodness sake?
Stressed about the time.
They pretend they're listening and like trying to pretend that they're participating in making the decisions, but they don't actually.
We're going to get in trouble, Chris.
It's true. What man actually plans a wedding? Seriously. If you do, give me a call.
Well, you haven't seen, that program where men they plan the wedding and women
that's just
don't.
for TV.
Yeah, that's true. They're forced into doing it.
Yeah.
Some of them are all right.
But why is it so stressful for them?
Well,
maybe because the bride to be is stressed.
Yeah.
So she maybe
some
gives
brides
them a hard
turn
time.
into a bit of a bridezilla, don't they? And just 1 in 6 women think that planning a wedding is their most stressful life event. Women are more likely to be stressed by having a baby or moving house. The study revealed that friends and family are a major source of anxiety in the run-up to the service for both sexes when planning a wedding. It is, isn't it? Sometimes it's like the friends and family, and also they say it's that the most challenging task is deciding who to invite. With almost half of couples worrying about the guest list. Staying within the budget is the second biggest fear, followed by keeping friends and family happy. It's true, isn't it? It's the people who are coming you worried about. And sometimes people sort of they go away from what it's supposed to be.
I know, it's sad that I can understand sort of the worries about the money. And so what was the first one you said? The first worry?
It was worried about the invites, the guest invites.
All right, okay. I can understand sort of worrying about the budget and stuff like that, but you do want people to come to your wedding and have a good time. at the same time, but I don't think you should get stressed about it either, because at the end of the day, it's your day.
Yeah.
You do the best that you can on the budget that you have, but you can't sit there getting stressed. And just have a small wedding then and don't invite anyone.
I can see why, you know, it can get stressful when people get involved and you consider their opinion a bit too much. You know, like if a friend or a mum or father or someone like that just gets involved, a member of friends or family, and they start saying, oh, why don't you do it here? Why don't you get this dress? Why don't you know, when they, and if you're getting lots of different like opinions on what you should do on your wedding day, I bet it can get quite stressful.
That's why it's good to have a small wedding, just you and your hubby, and be done with it.
Yeah, and just focus on what you want, not anyone else. Like maybe if you like your friend's opinion, maybe listen to it or consider it, but go with what you want. And especially it's you and your husband to be at the end of the day, no one else, isn't it?
Exactly. And on that note, we're going to leave it. We're going to go for now. Thank you so much, Bianca, for standing in for Chris Brown.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed the self-development clinic.
We did enjoy the self-development clinic. Thank you so much. And you'll be with us again next week, maybe. We'll see. So, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and do join us again on the Chrissy B Show. Bye-bye for now.
Shut up.
Okay.
Yeah. Today for ladies at lunch, I've come to the Hill Bar and Brasserie, which is in Haverstock. Oh, so noisy. I'm trying to get in a happy mood, sorry. Today I'm outside the... Sorry. At least we've ordered the food. Today for ladies at lunch, I've come down to the Hill Bar and Brasserie, which is on Haverstock Hill. We've come down to try the new menu. Joanna's inside waiting for me. Let's go and have a look. Today for ladies at lunch, I've come to the Hill Bar and Brasserie, which is on the... Oh!